Thursday night is being called the Night of 1,000 Bombs after Israel launched attacks from helicopters, jets, gunboats, and artillery. The mission to destroy Hamas tunnels in Gaza City.
Yeah, that's right. And just yesterday, we mentioned on our show that Israeli forces were moving into Gaza. But new reports are now saying that announcement was actually a ploy by the IDF to send Hamas fighters into underground tunnels where they were bombed in hopes of killing members of Hamas opposed to civilians. And now Israel is claiming to have killed dozens of those militants.
That's right. This dramatic video taken of the night sky puts things in perspective. You can see the rockets coming from Gaza and Israel's Iron Dome of interceptor missiles rising up to block them from entering and destroying what's lying below.
Yeah, and look at this. This map shows the area of Gaza that have been targeted by the airstrikes from Israeli forces. You can see the 4 locations and the proximity to some Israeli weaponry. And just today, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she was asked if Biden will help Israel replenish their defensive capabilities. Here's what she had to say.
I don't have anything to preview in terms of additional assistance. I will say that we have an important relationship, partnership, strategic security relationship with Israel. As you know, we have provided a range of support over the last several years and even decades, including the Iron Dome, but I don't have anything to preview in terms of additional support.
Okay, all the while, the U.S. will be sending millions of dollars to U.S. assistance to the Palestinians to promote conflict resolution with Israel. The timing of this, Joe, is very interesting. Obviously, one of the things Biden did was reinstate money to Palestine. But the fact that they're giving it now with these bombings and Israel being one of our strongest allies feels very insensitive and extremely tone deaf.
I mean, this is absolute insanity. You look at the history of this nation, you had somebody like JFK, a Democrat, saying that America's armaments must be equal to our commitments around the world. We have Ronald Reagan, who famously said, peace through strength. Throughout the history of this nation, we've understood that we had no stronger ally for peace in the Middle East than our friends in the Jewish state of Israel. And now, on the heels of this unprecedented action to fire rockets into Jerusalem on the heels of the Ayatollah, saying that Israel is not a nation but a military base, and that we would provide any assistance at all to people who mean to destroy our nation, who mean to make sure that Israel doesn't exist, is not only tone deaf, it undermines our ability for our allies to trust us and for us to make sure that America remains a preeminent force for peace and justice around the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and this conflict in the Middle East is actually uncovering a deep divide between Democrats and feeling like they are ashamed of our relationship with Israel. Listen to this.
If we're scared to stand up to the incarceration of children in Palestine, it's because maybe it'll force us to confront the incarceration of children here on our border.
Many members of Congress have instead fallen back on a blanketed statement defending Israel's airstrikes against civilians under the guise of self-defense.
Palestinians aren't going anywhere, no matter how much money you send to Israel's apartheid government.
As a black woman in America, I am no stranger to police brutality and state-sanctioned violence. Palestinians are being told the same thing as black folks in America. There is no acceptable form of resistance.
All right, you have members of the squad there clearly voicing their opinion based in wokeness, I would say. To put this all in perspective, let's bring in Alabama Congressman Barry Moore, who is on the House Israel Caucus. Congressman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay. I appreciate it.
Yeah, before we get to the latest on the Middle East conflict, House Republicans did vote to make Elise Stefanik the conference chair, replacing Liz Cheney. From your perspective, is this the move that was necessary to make sure that we can mend those frayed relationships within our caucus and make sure we take care of our preeminent priority, which is winning back that majority in the House and taking back that majority in the Senate?
For sure, I think that Elise is going to offer some unity within the party. You know, a lot of problems, Liz was looking over her shoulder and she wasn't looking forward. And it's hard to lead when you're looking back. But Elise has assured us that she's going to help unite our caucus. And we need to take that majority in 2022 and get the gavel away from Nancy Pelosi. This is the first step in that process of healing our caucus and moving in that direction.
Now, what is your reaction to the U.S. sending aid to the Palestinians at this particular point in time. Again, you've had the Ayatollah, who has basically declared that Israel is not a nation. You have Hamas, which is a terrorist organization purporting to represent the interests of the Palestinian people, all while in all the ways undermining every single relationship and meaningful step we've made for peace in that region. In particular, now Joe Biden ignoring the progress made with those Abraham Accords, which in many ways unified that actual region and made sure that we could isolate Iran and keep Hamas at bay.
Well, the timing of it is absolutely concerning for those of us, many of us in Congress, where you see us sending money to Palestine. And this time, when, you know, Israel has a history of play and defense, and they've always tried to defend themselves. The Iron Dome is part of that process. We help fund that. And at this time, while Palestinians are attacking Israel, I think it's troubling for our nation to be sending money to the enemies of what I consider one of our greatest allies in that part of the region. You know, a democratic-ran society that's very innovative, and Israel's been a great, strong ally, and this kind of thing just emboldens their enemies.
You know, Congressman, one of your colleagues across the aisle, Ilhan Omar, a member of the Squad, she recently said that Israeli airstrikes killing civilians in Gaza is an act of terrorism. And she went on to say that Palestinian children deserve advocates for their humanity, safety, and security, no exception. The interesting thing about this is the same person who conveniently ignored that Hamas is using schools as rocket launch sites with children as human shields. You know, if you don't understand the mindset of Hamas, her rhetoric may be misleading, because Hamas is the group that said to Israel, we love death more than we love life. You know, these are the people that are encouraging their own people for martyrdom. You know, this is exactly what Hamas wants. They want people like Ilhan Omar to be spreading the narrative that civilians are getting hurt, yet they are sacrificing their own people for that narrative. Do you think that Americans understand the underlying conflict here and what's really going on?
Well, I think it's important for us to get the message out that Hamas is that. They hide behind their women and their children in their schools and their mosques, so that when we attack, or at least Israel tries to defend themselves, they look like the bad guys in that region. But we know for sure, like I said earlier, Israel only launches attacks in response to unprovoked attacks from their enemies around the area. And so for us to allow this, that's why we have to take the floor. And to the credit of some of those across the aisle last night, I was encouraged that we had members across the aisle standing up and defending Israel. And that's what we intend to do. And I want Benjamin Netanyahu and all the people of Israel to know that there are many members in America and in this Congress in D.C. that stand with them, and we'll continue to support them.
Absolutely. I think it's not just this insanity in Congress, that old saying, it's like Muggsy and Malone. You've got children playing with live ammunition down there in the halls of Congress across the aisle. But in reaction to these airstrikes against Palestinians, we now have students here on our campuses, Harvard students among that, talking about systemic oppression and ethnic cleansing in Israel, and are demanding the university condemn Israel's so-called excessive use of force, divest from companies that do business with Israel. I mean, how do we get the core group of Americans to understand, number one, just how anti-Semitic it is to be engaged in this BDS movement, to get people to understand intuitively that when you start talking about the nature of the relations with Israel and Palestine, that you cannot actually have your arbiter for peace be a terrorist organization, and no peace can actually be achieved with people that mean to see you destroyed and driven into the sea.
These people need to study their history. They need to understand the history of Israel. It's 70 years. It hasn't been on the offensive. It's only had to defend its own land time and time again against these unprovoked attacks. And I think it's a message we need to get out that they're 1/5 of the population of Israel is Muslims, and they're treated fair under that democracy. It's not a nation that discriminates. It is an ally of ours in that part of the world. We must continue to defend Israel. And my faith requires it. The Lord said that if we'll bless Israel, we'll be blessed. If you curse Israel, you'll be cursed. As a nation, we must bless Israel. We must stand with Israel. And I think it's important that we lead here in D.C. and get the message out that regardless of what some of these universities say and some of these elitists on the left think, Israel is an ally of the U.S. and will continue to be an ally.
We only have seconds left here, Congressman. Before we go, I do have to ask you, you mentioned this is a bipartisan issue. Do you think that Joe Biden is doing enough to prove to Israel that we stand with them?
No, absolutely not. Joe Biden has dropped the ball. I've seen this in Congress where I've had members across the aisle stand and take a defense of Israel. But I'm concerned about the administration and how weak they've been in this process. And certainly some of the comments that John Kerry has made recently concern me about the policies coming out of the White House and the administration.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate your time here tonight.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.